Justin here. This is day 12 of rating my followers' watch collections. I am grossly unqualified to make this episode, but this is the watch collection of one of my Babson classmates from Thailand. He's a big vintage collector. Let's get into it. This is part one of the video. Stay tuned for part two. Let's start with this box. On the top left, we have the iconic GMT Pepsi 1675 reference. Next to it, we have the original root beer GMT 1675 in 18 karat yellow gold. Obviously, the modern root beer looks a little different, but this one has what's called the nipple dial, distinctive gold-filled hour markers. But these markers are important because it marked the shift from Rolex's utilitarian roots to a more luxurious, aesthetic-driven design. The late 1960s, the Rolex Submariner 1680/8 was the first Submariner made with 18 karat yellow gold. And then in the early 1970s, they introduced the deep blue dial. Also has the nipple dial. Next to it is a modern piece, a coral red Rolex Oyster Perpetual. LeBron has this watch. He was wearing this at a Sierra Canyon basketball game with Drake in 2021. I know way too much about Drake. On the very top right is the iconic modern GMT Master 2 Pepsi. Right below that is the 5513, which was his daily watch in college. And if you really dig deep through my catalog, he's one of the OG JZO Club members. I featured this watch a long time ago, one of my first episodes, so feel free to check that out. Bottom four are some heavy vintage pieces. Right off the bat, the watch that stands out to me is the big red Daytona 6263 because I just met up with a collector that also has this watch. My friend paid a heavy market premium for this watch. It was a little over $100,000, which is a lot, I think, for a vintage piece. This is the Sigma dial. Not quite sure if it's the same thing as the Paul Newman Daytona, but it's also very iconic. I actually think the watch on the left is pretty interesting. This is the Rolex Explorer 2 1655, nicknamed the Steve McQueen. Released in 1971, but it wasn't popular back then. The original purpose was super specialized. It was a tool watch for cave explorers to distinguish day from night in perpetual darkness. So really cool story behind this. It's the Mark II variation. Stay tuned for part two to see his vintage Pateks and APs. This begs the question, do you like vintage more or modern watches more? Let me know in the comments. Stay tuned for my rating system. Like and follow for more JZO Club.